where you can send us your comments this morning. Again, please join us on youtube.com if you'd like to send us a comment this morning, as we are not taking comments on WhatsApp for today. Again, YouTube, search for Smooth 981 FM Lagos and let us chat on there. All right, Peter, just going straight to the points this morning. As we mentioned, conversation is very focused. We're reviewing the third quarter financials. And before we begin the analysis, right, since we will be discussing stocks today, for those listening that are interested in opening a brokerage account to Stanbic, is it true there is no minimum amount required?
That is very true. We were formerly with 5 million. That's the minimum account opening balance for Stanbic. But as at today, that has been scrapped. So everybody can now open stockbroking accounts with as low as 100 naira. That's just tells us it's more like a zero zero naira. And it's easy to do that. You can download the Stanbic IBTC mobile app. Once you launch the app, just click on open a brokerage account. You fill in the required things that we want from you. And also you can do that on a dedicated website, sislbrokerage.com. In case you have any question, you can just send us an email or call me at stanbicibtc.com. Call me at stanbicibtc.com. So from 5 billion to 0 naira.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's really brilliant. Thank you for breaking it down for us and also sharing contact details for those whose ears perked up the moment you mentioned how easy it was to open a brokerage account with Stanbic IBTC. Again, the email address is callme@stanbicibtc.com. Beyond opening a brokerage account, if there's any question at all that you have that you'd like to take further, directly with Stanbic IBTC, then please use that email address. Okay, great. So let's start with GTCO, holding company for GTB. What do you make of the third quarter performance?
Was a fairly good one, though we saw the net interest income decline by 14%. But when we go beyond that to look at the non-interest income, that grew by 22%. So it's largely driven by growth in net fees and commission, and other incomes also grew. So it was a fairly good one in terms of income. And when you look at their cost to income ratio, that's increased from 38% to about 44% in third quarter. But I mean, on the good side as well, the NPL, that's non-performing loans, really reduced to 5.8%. So it's a good one for the company. And overall, is a company that we like, and we have a buy recommendation on the stock.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So let's move to industrials now and get your take on the third quarter performance of Bua Cement.
Bua Cement also did very well on the back of a very strong growth in their revenue, and also there was a decline in their net interest expense. When you look at the growth, that showed the company was very resilient during the year to date for the 9 months. And but on the other side, when we look at some other things, other performance of the company, though the company increased prices twice year to date, but we still saw the inflationary pressures in the economy prevailing in their financials. When you look at the administration costs, that's increased 53% year on year, and also manufacturing costs. I think we can strip that, look down to the foreign exchange costs and some other things are attributed to that. So, but on another good points, their net interest expense really came down, which was a good one for the company. So overall, it's a company that's its growth increased. Their net income, the net interest expense also declines, and we feel that's a good one for the company.
All right, thank you very much. So moving away from industrials now, we've looked at GTCO, we looked at industrials. Now let's talk about food. What's your assessment of Nestle's third quarter performance?
Nestle has been a name that has performed in the market. At the moment, still has the highest price on the Nigerian exchange. The performance was okay, good. It's a combination of two factors, the price as well as the volume. When you look at their food and beverage segments, and the company really made a good sales growth in their seasoning, Maggi, the beverage, Milo, and Nescafe. And when we look at some other factors that contributed to this good performance for the company in terms of their sales, their seasoning markets, however, really, I think they lost markets in that. But overall, like we saw in Bois Cement, they still, the inflationary pressure also prevailed on them. When we look at their cost, their gross margin contracted by almost like 204 basis points year on year. So that's due to inflation. So, and the net finance charge also increased when we look at strip the financials down. So it's a name that we like, although, but we have a old recommendation at the moment for whoever wants to go into it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Let's go back to the banking sector, shall we? I don't know if Onome has anything to ask you as well before I proceed to go back to the banking sector.
Not really. I think for the results were largely in expectation. I remember during the last conference call, the group, I think we call him the group MD now, right? Or group CEO, Segun Agbaje had stated that, okay, here's where we had a bad first quarter. Here is how we intend to surmount it, So I think that for both GTCO and Nestle, in summary, the good results, because the first quarter, the previous quarter, was a bit slow for the two of them, right? So there was an uptick this quarter. So I think in net, it's been a good result for both of them, and I expect that for Nestle, fourth quarter of the year, you have more activities due to the festivities, so sales should pick up a bit. For GTCO, I expect that it will even be better, because I remember during the conference call, he had stated, okay, we're going to see much better fourth quarter. So if it's all good and there's been an improvement for both firms, I'm okay with that.
Thank you very much. All right, just to mention that our WhatsApp platform is now open for comments in addition to our YouTube channel. So you can go to youtube.com and search for Smooth 981 FM to watch us live and send in your comments. You can also now send your WhatsApp message or questions or perhaps comments as well to 0809 444 0981. Again, that's 0809 444 0981. All right, so like I mentioned, let's go back to banking, the banking sector. Peter, how do you assess the performance of UBA in the third quarter?
That was also another wonderful performance in the banking sector, tracked above, ahead of our expectation in terms of the forecast that we have for the name. When we look at the numbers, the positive performance was majorly driven by higher interest on loans, reduction in funding costs, as well as a lower than expected loan provision. I think we saw that also in GTCO. So, but on the other side, the operating expense increased by 6.9% year on year. Of course, we know the economic situation, the inflation, the higher depreciation, and some other costs, premise maintenance and stuff like that, that's attributed to that. So the strong performance, we still have a buy recommendation. I mean, looking at everything that the company, the numbers that the company posted, and we feel is a good one for investors to invest.
All right, excellent. Thank you. If you're just tuning in, we're going through the third quarter financials review with Stanbic IBTC. And to take us through this, Peter Abe, Equities Trader, Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers, is with us. Now, Peter, a few more questions before we wrap up this morning. Do you have a buy, sell, or hold recommendation for the companies you have reviewed this morning?
Okay, yes. So like GTCO I mentioned, we have a buy recommendation on it. A target price of 41 naira. Nestle is also another one that we have a buy. We have hold recommendation on it at the moment. UBA we have buy recommendation at the moment. We have a target price of 12 naira on that on UBA.
Okay, all right, brilliant. Thank you. So, what's your outlook for the market in the fourth quarter?
All right, we are into it already, and we've seen how the market has performed. Looking at how we have come this far in the year, it's been pretty quiet from both the local and the foreign investors, and activities have been majorly driven by block trades. We don't expect that to be different. In this quarter, we have seen that so far. We've seen block trades driving activities. In the absence of potential catalysts, we expect that to remain. However, I have to sound this that looking at the rising crude oil price is going for about above $80 per barrel now, and that's trickling down to the FX, which will boost our FX reserve. So we anticipate that there will be some liquidity in the market, and also towards the end of the year, we expect investors generally to start taking position ahead of next year's full year earnings. By that I mean that people will start buying just to take advantage of various corporate actions that will come in once these companies declare maybe dividend or bonus by next year. All right, so that's what we expect basically.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so very much for sharing that with us. Ogenochukwu is glad that you've given us the information that as little as 100 naira, you can open a brokerage account with Stanbic IBTC. Now, for those who are asking for the email address again, it's callme@stanbicibtc.com. Very simple. That's callme, CALLME @stanbicibtc.com. Thank you so very much, Peter, for discussing with us this morning. Onome, I don't know if you have any final words as we wrap up today's show.
None. I think people just need to just pay attention to what's happening in the market, and position where necessary, right? And it'll be good. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, all our listeners. Thanks for being a part of the conversation this morning. I do trust and believe that the information provided this morning by Peter has been very helpful, especially with regards to our interest or perhaps investment in stocks at this time. We'll go on a break now. When we come back at 7:30, break is a nice music break to help you along your commute to work this morning. Before we go on, you can be a part of the conversation by heading on to our social media platforms at Smooth981, and of course, by emailing callme@stanbicibtc.com. Thank you so much, Peter. I will look forward to another conversation with Stanbic IBTC next week, Thursday. Thank you, Onome, for joining me today. And we'll talk later on. Tomorrow's Business Express is a Tech Friday edition. So we'll be talking technology on there. Have a good morning and speak soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Very much.
Thank you very much, Ayo.
Thank you, and have a good morning.